I would love to dive more deeply into this if you're willing, because I think a lot of people feel that it's not really right to apologize because either they want to be the victim. I'm a survivor of this situation and I kind of get fed by that, I get fueled by that, or that person hasn't done what they need to do to warrant an apology. And it sounds like you're like, well, we can take that into our own hands, right? And I'm wondering how that process happens. So if there's somebody out there listening to this is like, motherfucker just abused me or hurt me or whatever they did, and so how do I come to a place in my heart where it feels genuine, and what's the process of pain and grief that needs to be felt in order for that to come across in a genuine way?
That's such a great question, because I feel like, look, if you can get a real apology from someone, or if someone's willing to make an apology, that's amazing. I couldn't, because my father was dead. So for me, I didn't want to be stuck inside that story anymore. I wanted to see what was on the other side of it. And I think in some ways, if an apology is a journey, and if you take the time you need to take, I think there are 4 parts to it, which is, first of all, a self-examination. How did I become the person I am who was capable of doing the act that I did, right? Who am I? So I had, in my journey, I had to go back with my father and just say, well, when did this begin? Where are the seeds of the story that allowed you to get to a point where you could abuse me sexually and you could beat me and almost murder me? Where did this start in your life? And that took weeks and weeks and weeks just probing and going back. And then once that happened, it's like, what did I do? What did I do? Like, what are the specific details? Because freedom only comes through specificity. When someone apologizes to you and they go, I'm sorry that happened, or I'm sorry I did that, it's like, that's a joke. That's a joke. That's not apology. An apology is, I have done this deep self-examination, and here's what I did. I came into your room. I pulled your underpants down. I did this. I took your body. I did. Because once you apologize in detail, the person you're apologizing to gets freed in those moments. It's like energetic particles go poof, 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 poof. All these things you've stored in your body and you've often been gaslit about and made to feel you made it up and that you're crazy, they just begin to pop and pop and pop and pop, and freedom starts. You can feel it in your body, right? So it's the specificity. And then what are the long-term impact of the things I've done? How did that affect your life? Who did you become as a result of what I did? Because it's not just the action. We were talking, I work in with a beautiful, beautiful place we created with Christine Schuller-Descriver and Dr. Denis Mukwege in the Congo called the City of Joy. And I was talking to Christine. It's in the Congo, and it's a place for many survivor young women who come for 6 months to turn their pain to power and to release their agony and become leaders. And I was talking to Christine yesterday, and we were talking about a woman who we love, who had come to City of Joy, who had been a nun, who was a practicing nun, who got raped during the conflict in a massive way, who was then forced to have a baby, and she ended up murdering her baby because she couldn't handle it. It was just too much. And she came to City of Joy. She went through the process. She began to recover. She then got hired as a security guard at City of Joy, and then something triggered her, and she began to lose her mind. And it was the guilt about her baby that she couldn't tolerate. And now she's really gone. And we're having a very hard time getting her back. And I was saying to Christine, nobody talks about the long-term consequences of rape in war. Nobody sees this invisible story of a woman who was a nun, who was devoted to God, who had given her life and her body to God, which was violated and then forced to have a baby which she never wanted. And then right? And so I think the apology is the unearthing of what are the consequences of the action that you did on this person's life that you are responsible for, that you have to take responsibility for, not forever, not to burden yourself into eternity, but in truth, in reality, to say, I own that I did this, I'm responsible for this. And then the 4th step is the apology. The 4th step is, and if you've gone through all that, it's clear you have become a person who isn't capable of ever doing that to anyone again,
Yes.
right? You have
100%.
gone on that journey.
Yes.
So my feeling is, you know, I believe profoundly in restorative justice. I believe we are deeply flawed human beings. That's what being a human being is. We are flawed. Apologies are here as our restitution, as our ongoing, the ongoing balm in our messy beings, like the way we keep going. And I had the privilege of working at a prison for 9 years with a group of women who had all been there for violent crimes. You know, most of them had done murders. And our group was the most amazing cauldron of truth-telling, exorcising, excavation of women really going deeply, deeply, deeply into their crimes, why they had done them, what was at the core, who were they before their crimes. And what I discovered in that process is so often people are so unconscious when they do bad things. Life has just happened to them. Poverty and racism and all kinds of odds and things that have come, abuse and things that have come at them, and then one day they just go boom as a result of that. And if we say that we are all fallible, we are all capable of gigantic mistakes and horrible deeds, then we also have to say we are capable of changing, that both those things are true. Otherwise, we harden people and we freeze people in one mistake or one bad moment that is for eternity. And I think what the apology does is it greases that. It says, no, no, we get to change, we get to turn, but a deep apology, a true apology, an authentic apology.
And was there an apology that you felt you also had to say to yourself, or was it really in relationship to your father? How does that, are there apologies that play into it?
You know, I think for me, after I finished the book, you know, when I was younger, after being abused for so long, I became, I think this is true for a bunch of people. Everything that was beautiful and gorgeous, like nature, and stunning and grand, I was so afraid of. I just went to the cities, and I wanted to be away from all that, and away from trees, and away from all that. And it was like, how will I find meaning? I'll find meaning in advancing myself, in writing, and becoming a successful writer, and in movements building, and ending violence against women, and doing, and doing, and doing, and doing, and doing. And and I think at a certain point in my life, I had bad cancer 14 years ago, stage 3/4 uterine cancer, and everything fell apart. And I realized that I could no longer go on living like that. And I moved to the woods, which was shocking after living in New York City for 40 years. Really shocking, I have to tell you.
There's trees and like plants.
No, it was shocking. I just got a note from my farm where someone was saying, we removed the hornet's nest today without harming it. And I was like, who am I? I have become a different person, you know? But I feel like what happened was I realized who I had to make an apology to was Mother Earth. Because I had not seen her, I had not cherished her, I had not been connected to her, I had overlooked her, I had been rushing for the goods of the Father and the recognition of the Father and wanting all of that, and just literally stepping over her and dissing her. And when I made that apology, it was the beginning of the greatest relationship of my life. I have to say, like, to be connected to the earth, for me, has been the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And I think when we're abused and when our bodies are damaged, we leave them, right? We leave ourselves. We leave our embodied beings. And so as we leave ourselves, we leave our connection to the earth, because every time we connect to the earth, it reminds us we're not connected to our own bodies. And I think I had to go through a journey to get back into my body, which the cancer really helped with, because when you wake up after a 9-hour surgery and half your organs are gone and you have tubes and things coming out of everything in your body, you're like, oh, I'm a body. It was real, you know? I think that journey back and the apology of really owning that I didn't see her and didn't know her and didn't take the time,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
was the beginning of a very profound relationship.
Wow, thank you, thank you.